If you're in search of a budget-friendly way to lift and level your 2007 to 2018 JK Wrangler, this Mammoth 3.5-inch suspension lift kit with shocks will be a great option. Now this kit will be a great entry-level 3.5-inch choice for the JK owner who's really looking to keep it relatively simple when it comes to lifting their Wrangler, whether that's to get more of an aggressive look or for more clearance for better off-road performance. Now that 3.5 inches in height will be great if you're looking for more of that aggressive lift height compared to other smaller options for a bigger tire and some really good clearance, but also want to keep it relatively toned down compared to the very aggressive 4+ inch lift kits. Not to mention, if you need to start replacing worn components like your shocks, for example, for better drivability, and you don't want to completely break the bank, but you still want quality components, this kit will do just that. Now, even though this kit is going to be relatively affordable, this is going to include a lot, and you can see that on the table here. So this will include new shocks and springs, bump stop extensions for the front and the rear sway bar end links, a rear track bar bracket, as well as a drop pitman arm, and you're also getting an adjustable front track bar. Now that's going to be everything that you need to get that height, as well as some better drivability if your factory suspension, especially your shocks, are starting to go. Now the shocks and springs will be tuned for a more responsive ride to reduce body roll on the road and resist any fluid like bouncing off-road, while also reducing shock fade over time for a long lifespan. Now the other components like the bump stop extensions, sway bar end links, front adjustable track bar, and rear track bar bracket is also going to accommodate for that additional height to resist any loss in drivability, keeping your ride very comfortable when putting this kit on your JK. Now in addition to the increased ride performance over stock, this kit is also just going to feature benefits like increased ground clearance and a more defined look, especially with the higher 3.5-inch size. Now, this kit will also fit larger tires, and when looking at tire size allowance, this kit will be able to fit up to a 37-inch tire in the wheel well, but may have some rubbing out wheel lock. So if you're not looking to make any modifications, a 35 is going to be your best bet. When it comes to the construction of this kit, starting off with the springs, these are going to have a high tensile construction to support both 2- and 4-door applications. Now, the shocks in the kit are where you're going to get a big upgrade with an outer steel construction finished in a durable black powder coat, large hard chrome OE style piston rod for good durability and corrosion resistance, as well as a premium oil and knock seals to ensure a leak-proof design. Now the gas charge design, in addition to the build, will offer consistent and reliable dampening for better performance than factory and better longevity than factory, especially if you're off-roading often. Now, the track bar and the sway bar end links here are going to be made of a steel material. This is going to be a lot beefier than your factory one and is going to be adjustable, so you are able to adjust where your axle sits for perfect geometry there. Now they're also going to have a high density polyurethane bushing all over, which is not going to get brittle and crack like the factory bushing. Now the rest of the components will have a tough steel construction, mainly covered in a heavy duty black powder coat finish to make sure that they hold up, but the rear bump stop extensions are going to be made of a durable plastic material, so you don't have to worry about rust there. Now this is also going to include absolutely everything that you need in the kit for the install, including all the hardware and the brackets, including brake line drop bracket. Now I would recommend at this 3.5-inch lift point to look at front lower control arms or drop brackets to help with alignment and drivability, so that's also something to keep in mind there. Now, like I mentioned, this is going to be pretty affordable compared to other 3.5-inch lift kits at around $800. Now, what I like most about this kit is that this is not going to break the bank while including mostly everything that you need to get that 3.5 inches and retain good drivability. Now, lift kit pricing a lot of the time comes down to what's included in the kit, so I think if you want more than the leveling kit or a base suspension lift, but you don't need a super high performance option, if you're not doing any extreme off-roading, then this is going to be a fantastic choice. Now, install is going to be a tougher 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and with the right tools and the right setup, it should take you about 4 hours to get the job done. Now, at this point, we can head over to the shop and show you a step-by-step breakdown of the install and what to expect with your JK. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
For this install, you will need air and electric impact, a ratchet, various extensions, swivel adapters, and regular adapters, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, and 33 millimeter sockets, a pry bar, 11, 213, 14, 18, 21, and 22 millimeter wrenches, a pair of vice grips, a handheld spring compressor, a drill, 25/64 drill bit, a ratchet strap, Sharpie and paint pen, and various pitman arm and ball joint service tools. Also not shown here are pole jacks or jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a lift kit on our Jeep, so let's get started. So now we come to the front of our Jeep and we've got our pole jacks supporting our differential again. The first thing we're going to do, just as with the rear, we're going to go ahead and remove the brake line bracket from the frame. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and pop this ABS line out of its retainer here. We'll grab our 10 mil socket on our impact and take that bolt out. We'll go ahead and pop that out. Let that hang just like so. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting point. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket and 18 mil wrench. Go ahead and pop these off. And you may need to go ahead and push up with your pole jack or jack. Get your differential to release the tension on the bolt here. We'll go ahead, lower that back down. Then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the top mounting point for our shocks. And for that, we're going to go ahead and grab some vice grips and just go ahead and lock onto our shock shaft here. And we'll grab our 14 mil wrench, go ahead and remove this top nut. Once it gets to a low enough point, we can try and get our ratcheting side of our wrench on. You may not be able to right away. Might have to lower it a little bit more with the open end side. And once you get close to it coming out, you want to definitely grab onto the bottom of your shock to support it. Go ahead and finish this off by hand. Go ahead and remove our front shocks. So now that we have our shocks out, we can go ahead and move on to our sway bar end links. So for our top mounting nuts here, we're going to go ahead and grab our 18 mil socket on our impact and run those off. Then for our bottom one, we're going to switch out to an 18 millimeter socket on our ratchet and an 18 millimeter wrench. Go ahead and take that off and remove our end links. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and remove our lower track bar bolt. Now this does have a flag nut on the back, so you don't need a wrench. You will simply need a 21 millimeter socket and maybe an extension on your impact. Now that we have that loose, we can go ahead and drop our differential down and get our factory springs out of their purchase. And go ahead, pop our springs out. And repeat that for the other side. So now that we have most of our front end off, this kit we are going to be removing and replacing our pitman arm as well as our drag leg for a drop setup. So we're going to need to remove our factory one. So we're going to start by fully removing our track bar here. So we're going to go ahead and pop this other 21mm bolt off, and that'll make it easier to access our pitman arm nut, and then we can remove our drag leg and pitman arm. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 21mm socket on our impact and our 21mm wrench to go ahead and remove our upper mounting bolt for our track bar. Once we have our nut off, we'll go ahead and support our track bar and pull that bolt out. Pop that out. And we can go ahead and remove our track bar, set it aside. So now we'll go ahead and remove our 21mm nut for our knuckle mounting portion of our drag leg. So now that we have our nut off of our ball joint here, we're going to go ahead and grab our service tool. We're going to go ahead and hook that onto our knuckle like so, and get our shaft seated on the stud like that. We'll go ahead and grab our 16mm socket on our impact and run this down. Now you do want to exercise caution because this is going to be under a little bit of pressure, so make sure your face isn't in the way or anything like that. And we'll go ahead just push this down. And it should pop right out like so. And we're going to leave that sit like that, and then we'll go up to our pitman arm. So now what we can do is go ahead and remove the upper nut for our pitman arm. And so to do that, we're going to grab our 33mm socket on our impact and run that off. So next we're going to grab our Sharpie and we're going to go ahead and mark the location of this pitman arm in a couple spots so that we can match it up with the new one. So we'll grab our Sharpie here. And we're just going to make a couple reference marks, kind of get us in the spot we need as far as our alignment and steering is concerned. This takes a lot of the guesswork out. You don't want to put it on and it'd be all the way over and your wheels messed up. So this will get us in a good baseline spot. So now we're going to go ahead and get our puller onto our pitman arm like so. And the stud for your pitman arm mount has a recess. So we're going to line this puller shaft right up into that, kind of center it. Make sure that's locked in. Then we can go ahead and crank this down and pop this pitman arm out. And then we can go ahead and get the whole drag link assembly out of the way. Now that we've got our puller in place, we'll go ahead and grab our 19mm socket and ratchet and go ahead and crank down on this. Get our pitman arm separated. Now one thing you want to exercise caution because it's going to be under a little bit of pressure. So make sure you support your drag link in your pitman arm while gently cranking your puller. So now ours is pretty tight on there and the hand ratchet's not getting it done, so we're going to switch out to our impact and extension with our 19mm socket. And you still want to exercise caution with this. Get it. So now we can go ahead and get our knuckle side of our drag link out. Now one thing to note here is you may need to turn your wheels towards your passenger side, that's the right, in order to get this recess here from your tie rod to go ahead and give you enough room to get that out. So we've got our Jeep up in the air, we've got the wheels off, and the first thing we're going to do in the rear here is remove the mounting bolt for our brake line bracket. This is going to give us a little bit of extra room as to not put stress on our brake lines, and we are going to be adding an extension bracket into there. So we're going to grab our 10 mil on our impact and go ahead and pop that off real quick. And let that hang down, and then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we've got the vehicle raised up a little bit more, and we've got pole jacks under the rear differential to go ahead and support that. And what we're going to do first is loosen these two forward mounting bolts for our control arms. We're not going to fully remove them, but loosening them is going to allow for easier lowering of our differential. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket and swivel adapter on our impact. Go ahead and just loosen those up just a little bit. And these do have flag nuts on the backside, so you don't need a wrench for that. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So next we're going to come under here and we're going to pop our vent tube off of our differential. This is just going to prevent it from getting damaged while we lower the differential. And it simply just pops off. There's no clip or anything. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the 10 millimeter mounting nuts holding our parking brake cable bracket in place. So we'll go ahead and grab our 10 mil socket on our impact again, run these off. And we can go ahead, just make sure our bracket comes down freely. After that, we can go ahead and remove our lower shock mounting bolts. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket on our impact and an 18 mil wrench, pop these off. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can go ahead and get at our two 16 millimeter top mounting bolts. Now you only have to fully remove one, you can just loosen the other as these are slotted mounting points and we're going to be reusing this hardware. So we'll grab our 16 mil and our extension on our impact. We'll go ahead and remove this side. And then for this side, we're just going to loosen it enough to slide this out. Okay. We can go ahead and remove our shocks. We'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and remove our sway bar end links. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket and our impact again and our 18 mil wrench, and we'll remove the upper mounting nut and the lower mounting bolt. Now you don't want to discard these because these are going to be moving up front to replace our current front sway bar end links. So now once we have that out, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and loosen our upper track bar mounting bolt and then go ahead and remove the lower one so we can swing our track bar out of the way and lower our differential. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket on our impact, loosen this one up. You may need to go ahead and grab a 21 mil wrench as well and get on the nut for the backside. And again, just loosen it up a little bit, and we'll move on to our lower mounting bolt. Now this bolt does have a flag nut on the back, so you won't need a wrench for that. So now we can go ahead and lower our differential down and remove our factory springs. Once they get low enough, go ahead, pop those right out. Now you do want to save your isolators off the top of your spring because we will be reusing those for the new springs. So now we are going to be pulling the pitman arm from our drag link. It's a lot easier to do this off of the vehicle because this nut is facing upwards and we're probably going to need a puller for it. So we got it off and we're going to go ahead and pull this nut first. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket on our impact and run this off. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and grab our puller, get that hooked in here. Sure that's nice and secure. Then we'll use our 16 millimeter socket on our impact to run this off. Again, you want to exercise caution when using these. Just keep your face and anything out of the way. And it should pop right off of there like so. I can go ahead and set that aside. So now, as you'll notice, our boot for our ball joint here on our drag link is pretty worse for wear. It's definitely seen better days. However, the ball joint itself does not have any play. But if you're coming to this point and installing this and your either ball joints look like this, it would be a great idea to go ahead and service and replace your drag link and have new ball joints and everything else, because you don't want an entire new kit and this be your weakest link and then it cause steering issues, excess play and stuff like that. You already have it out, you might as well go ahead and replace it. It's a great idea, a great time to do so. Now, for demonstration purposes, we are actually not replacing ours, but the install process will be the exact same whether it's good or in this condition. Just something to keep in mind there. So now we can go ahead and get our new Pitman arm in place. Slide that down into position. We'll grab our factory 21 millimeter nut. Go ahead and get that on there. And we'll grab our 21 mil socket and tighten this down. And you'll notice this still pivots and moves, so we'll be able to set it in place properly when we get it on the vehicle. So now, using our factory Pitman arm with those marks that we had on here previously before we uninstalled it, we're going to go ahead and kind of line up this one on top of our new one, just like so. And then we're just going to use those marks on our factory one to reference and mark on the new one. Again, this is just going to get us close for a proper alignment based on how we took it apart, and this prevents your steering wheel from being all crazy or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and use our paint pen on this one. Go ahead and make our marks. And then we'll line these marks up with the ones that are on our gear up there. So now we can go ahead and get our Pitman arm lined up with our reference marks here. To slot in like so. Once we have that in, we'll go ahead and reinstall our factory nut and lock washer. We have that on, we can go ahead, get our ball joint back in position here. We need to adjust it a little bit. We're going to loosen this up. So what we're going to do now is loosen up our adjusters so we can easier get our ball joint back into our knuckle. So we'll grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and go ahead and loosen these up. Now we'll go ahead and get our ball joint into place here. See, we've got a little bit to go here. We can also move steering rack. Get this in position. Go. Once you get that through, go ahead and reinstall our factory 21 millimeter nut. So now we'll grab our 21 mil socket on our impact and go ahead and tighten this down. Now we'll grab our 33 millimeter socket on our impact and tighten down our Pitman arm nut. So now what we're going to do is get our steering as straight as possible before we tighten this back down, and we're going to reference our marks here for our Pitman arm and our Pitman arm box, just to kind of get everything back as close as possible. Also, you still want to get this thing professionally aligned after you do this install, but this is going to get us close enough to where we can drive it to the shop without damaging our tires or anything else. So we'll make sure this is straight as we can get it. Make sure our marks are pretty close. Check our other wheel here. Now this one needs to be brought in. So we'll go ahead, make that turn. So now our wheels are pretty close to straight. We can go ahead and tighten down our adjuster here. Again, with our 15 mil socket on our impact. So now our next step is going to be to mark and drill our bolt holes for our bump stop spacers. Now we already have holes drilled in our perches from previous installs, so we're not actually going to be drilling, but we're going to show you the process. So what you're going to do is take your bump stop spacer, center it on your perch, then you want to take a Sharpie marker and go ahead and drop that down and mark the center of your hole here. So you get that good and marked. Then you want to take that off. Then you could center punch your Sharpie mark there, and then you want to use a 25/64 drill bit to go ahead and drill out a clearance hole for your provided 3/8 bolts that are going to go through and bolt down your bump stop spacers. So just like the rear, we're going to be reusing our factory upper isolators here. So usually these tend to stay on when you remove your factory spring, so we're just going to push that up into position, and it should hold steady right where it's at, and that'll be good enough. And it's a lot easier to get your spring on if you already have that on. So then we'll go ahead and compress our spring using our handheld spring compressor and get these up into place. Now we'll go ahead and lock our compressor onto our springs. Now there's many different styles of these, and they're actually available for rentals at your local auto parts store, or most of them anyway. Very easy to attach. It just makes installing these springs a whole lot easier than trying to get them in uncompressed. So we'll go ahead and lock that down. Then we'll go ahead and grab our 19mm socket on our impact, tighten this down, compress our spring, and get that into place. So you do always want to exercise caution when using these, because you are putting the spring under a lot of tension. So make sure everything is secured properly before you begin. Wear safety glasses, mine are shatterproof, and make sure your hands aren't in the pinch points of the compressor themselves. So we'll go ahead and tighten this down. Okay, we'll go ahead and get these into place. Get it up in. Now we may need to push down on our front differential just a bit to get that over the perch. Once that's in, we can go ahead and decompress our spring and get it lined up. So now we've added our long extension to get underneath here so we can decompress this spring. Now you want to make sure you can line this up and it's not under too much tension, so we may need to go ahead and shift our spring around, get it properly lined up before we fully decompress it. So we want to make sure our bottom coil is lined up with the mounting spot from the factory. May take a little turn, couple turns here. That's good pressure. So we need to go a little bit farther. We can go ahead and remove our compressor, pop our pins out. Now that we've got that lined up, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, and then we can go ahead and get our bump stop spacers in. It is much easier to get your spring in before you put your bump stop spacers in for this kit. So we'll show you how to do that now that we've got that in. So now it's time to go ahead and install our bump stop spacers. Now again, like I said, it's way easier to get the spring in first. So what we're gonna do is just pull down on our differential a little bit here. This may take a little bit of effort, but you can get this right through in between your spring, just like so. And then we can go ahead and line this up and get it bolted. Like I said, it's way easier to do it this way than to try to get the spring over top of that spacer at this size of a kit. So now that we've got that in, we'll grab our supplied 13mm bolt. We'll go ahead and drop that into our spacer, like so, with our flat washer on it. And we'll go ahead and get that to fall through our hole, like such. Then we'll grab our supplied flange nut. We can go ahead and get that started on the bottom. Oh. We'll go ahead and get this on and hand tight. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 14mm wrench. These are 14mm bolts. Go ahead. We're just going to hold this flange nut in place by hand. It's a lot easier than trying to get a socket in here or a wrench. And that flange nut will grab on the perch itself. So once you get that to grab, you can go ahead and fully tighten this down, like so. Then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now it's time to go ahead and hang our shocks. So what we're going to do is going to grab our upper bushing first. We have our lower bushing and lower washer on our mounting shaft. We're going to get our upper bushing into place in our mounting hole here. And once we slide that up, we'll get our upper washer and our nut into place. Now that we have that through, we'll go ahead and get our nut in place here. Once those threads catch, be able to just hang it in place like this, and we can go ahead and begin tightening that down. So you will get to a point where your shaft is going to start spinning with your lock nut. So when that happens, you can grab your 8mm wrench, and go ahead and lock on to the top recess of your shaft here. There's a bit of tight space, but you will have room, and you can hold it in place while you tighten it. And once you have that fully tightened, you can go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our bottom mounting bolt in for our shock. Go ahead and line that up. We may need to pull down a little bit on our differential here to get that in. Go ahead and get that through. Then we'll go ahead and reinstall our factory 18mm nut. And we'll go ahead and tighten that down. So now we'll grab our 18mm socket and swivel adapter on our impact and our 18mm wrench and tighten this down. Now once you have this on, you can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. Next, we can go ahead and install our sway bar end links that we removed from the rear. We're going to use those as our new front ones. So we'll go ahead and get that onto our sway bar, reinstall our factory 18mm nut. Then we can go ahead and reinstall our factory hardware at the bottom. We'll go ahead and get our factory hardware back in the bottom here. And we'll go ahead and tighten that down. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 18mm socket and a wrench and go ahead and tighten these down. Tighten down our top nut. Then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're ready to go ahead and install our new track bar, and we're going to reuse our factory 21mm bolt. We'll go ahead and get our upper mount in place. Now we do have our adjusters loose, so we can go ahead and set our length and get this mounted. We'll go ahead and get this in position here. Get our hardware in. Get our factory nut reinstalled loosely. Then we can go ahead and get our lower mounting point set and get that installed. So we'll go ahead and get this set here. Line this up. We'll use our adjuster, bring this in just a hair so that falls into place. And we can move it right to where we need it. That looks like a good spot. And we'll grab our factory hardware and get that back in place. Grab our factory bolt here, slide that through. Yep. And once we get that in, we'll go ahead and make sure it fits all the way through. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten our upper and lower mounting bolts. So we'll grab our 21mm socket, our 21mm wrench. Then for our lower one, we just need the 21mm socket because it does have a flag nut. Now we'll go ahead and get our flag nut reinstalled. Once that catches, go ahead and tighten that down again with our 21mm socket. So now we're going to tighten up our adjuster and use our adjuster to pull our differential back in line, because remember, usually you'll have to use a ratchet strap or the steering to get your lower mounting point for your track bar back into place. We'll go ahead and turn this till it stiffens up really good. Now again, this is just going to get you into a general place where you're not crab walking too bad, and you can get your vehicle to an alignment shop after this, because you will definitely need an alignment for this lift kit. So now once we've got our track bar adjusted where we want it, we'll go ahead and grab our So now once we have our track bar adjusted where we want it, we can go ahead and tighten our adjuster down, and we'll grab our 17mm socket on our impact and an 18mm wrench. Go ahead and tighten these down. Now we can install our brake line extension brackets to our factory front mount. We'll go ahead and line that up just as we did with the rear, and reinstall our 10mm bolt, holding the factory one in. And we'll grab our 10mm socket on our impact and tighten this down. Then you'll want to massage your brake line down to line up with your new bracket. It will bend pretty easily. You just want to be gentle as you're doing it. Ours has already been bent down due to previous installs. But if you just work it nice and slow, it should come down right as you need it. And then once we have that in place, we'll go ahead and grab our provided 11mm bolt along with a flat washer. Go ahead and get that through. And on the back side, we'll add another flat washer and our 11mm lock nut. Then we'll grab our 11mm socket and our 11mm wrench. Go ahead and tighten these down. And once we have that done, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and tighten our control arm bolts back up. We'll grab our 21mm socket and swivel adapter on our impact. Get these snug down. Now once you have this done, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. And again, remember to always refer to the manufacturer's specific torque rate for all of your hardware that you are reinstalling. So now that we've got everything out, it's time to go ahead and start installing our kit. So we're going to start with our new bump stop spacers. So those are going to go right here on our perch. Now if you notice the orientation, the angle of basically the arrow part of this is going to be pointing towards the rear of your vehicle. So we'll go ahead and set that just like that. Then we're going to grab our provided 13mm bolt along with a flat washer. Stick that right in there. Line that up with our mounting hole. Then we're going to grab our 13mm flange nut. And it's kind of easier if you pick up on this a little bit, just to give this enough room to get in here. And then we can go ahead and get this flange nut started. We'll go ahead and get that hand tight. Then we'll do the same thing for the front mounting hole. We'll go ahead and get our other mounting bolt in. Grab our flange nut. And again, we're going to lift up on this a little bit. And since the other one's on, we may just have to lift up on our bolt itself. It is a little tricky because these are in a very tight spot of our spacer here. Go ahead and get that lined up. Get that started. Yeah, it's hard to see here from this angle. It's pretty tight quarters. Once we get these both hand tight, we'll go ahead and grab our wrenches and tighten these down. So we'll grab a 13mm wrench for our nut and then a 13mm ratcheting wrench for our bolt. Go ahead and tighten this one down. And we'll go ahead and tighten down our back one. So now because of the space limitations for our rear mounting bolt here, we're going to need to use the open end of our wrench for tightening on both sides. So again, we'll grab our 13s. Go ahead and tighten these down. And once we have these tight, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So next we can go ahead and install our track bar relocation bracket. So that's going to slide right over our factory track bar spot here, just like so. Then we have our two other mounting holes here on our shock mount bracket on our differential. Now we've got our sleeve lined up, we can go ahead and grab our bolt and our flat washer. Go ahead and slide this into place. Get that all the way through. You may need to wiggle it around just a little bit. Then on the back side of that, we're going to add another flat washer as well as our provided lock nut. So we'll do our flat washer first here. And this is pretty hard to see, but it's right where your factory mount goes. So we'll add our lock nut in here. Get that lined up. A little tricky, but there we go. Then we'll get our two other mounting bolts in place. Then we'll get our lower mounting bolt in first. Slide that in with our flat washer. Then we'll go ahead and grab our provided flange nut. And the lower one's pretty easy. You can just reach it from the back side here. Now the upper one is a little bit trickier. So what we'll do is go ahead and get our bolt in place first along with our flat washer. And we're going to do a little trick for our flange nut here. So we're going to grab our 14mm crescent wrench here, and we're going to sit our flange nut in the completely round side, the 12-point side. And that flange is going to allow that nut to sit on there pretty good. Then what we're going to do is slide that right into this opening here on the top part of our shock mounting bracket. You can get your wrench right through there and then line it up with the bolt. And go ahead and get that started and pull your wrench right back out. I know that's hard to see, but if you're looking down from the in-person view when you're doing this, it's pretty easy to kind of figure out how you need to go about that. But that is a nice little trick with flange nuts. It makes things a lot easier. So we're going to leave these bolts hand tight for now, and then we'll go ahead and add in our other things that we need to put on, and then we'll go ahead and put our track bar on when we're ready. So now we're going to get our new springs installed in the rear. We're going to reuse that factory isolator we set aside earlier. Go ahead and set that on the top of our new spring here. We'll go ahead and get this on. We can go ahead and raise our differential up a little bit just to capture our spring. Then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're ready to go ahead and install our new sway bar end links. So we'll go ahead and get these lined up. We'll get our top one in first. We'll go ahead and install our supplied 19mm nut here. Then we'll get it lined up with our bottom mount. We may have to adjust our differential just a little bit more. We'll go ahead and get it close. And we'll grab our factory mounting bolt for the bottom. Go ahead and get that lined up. And we'll go ahead and get these tightened down. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 19mm socket and tighten down our upper mounting nut here. Then we'll switch out and tighten down our lower mounting bolts. So next we'll go ahead and grab our 18mm socket and 18mm wrench and tighten down our bottom mounting bolt here. Then once you have this one tight, you can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and get the track bar itself mounted. And what we're going to do is grab our ratchet strap. We're going to hook that right here on our differential side. And then we will hook up to this upper tab here on our chassis side. You want to make sure you go over your track bar here as to not push it any particular way. We'll go ahead and get that tight. And we're going to slowly pull this over. Be very mindful of your pole jacks. So now we've got our ratchet strap tightened up and our track bar is pretty much in line where we need it to be. So we're going to grab our new 21mm bolt and flat washer. Go ahead and get that in position here through our track bar. Go ahead and work that into place. So now once we have our bolt through, we can go ahead and add our flat washer and then our lock nut to the back side. Get that started. So now that we have our track bar in place, we can go ahead and begin tightening down our hardware. So first we're going to tighten down these two side mounting bolts. We're going to grab our 14mm socket on our impact and our 14mm wrench. We'll go ahead and tighten both of these down. Now we'll go ahead and tighten down our top one. Now we'll go ahead and tighten down our two larger bolts. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket and 22 mil wrench. Go ahead and tighten these down. Now we're going to tighten this one down, but as you'll see with some other stuff, we're going to wait until our suspension is preloaded to fully torque these down the lower mounting and upper mounting points of the track bar. So we'll go ahead and just snug this down for now. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for our upper mounting bolt. And for this one, we'll switch back to our 21 millimeter wrench. So now it's time to hang our shocks. So remember, we've got our one bolt already in that's loose. We're going to slide our mounting tab into that, and then we'll add our other factory 16 millimeter bolt and get this bolted in up top. So we'll go ahead and get our first tab on our bolt that's already in place. And we'll go ahead and install our other factory 16 millimeter bolt. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 16 mil socket and extension on our impact and tighten these down. Now once you have this done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat this same process on the other side. So for now, we're going to leave our bottom mounts of our shocks undone. What we're going to do is when we put the wheels on and lower it to the ground, we're going to use the weight of the vehicle to line up the bottom of our shocks. It's a little bit easier than trying to compress the spring pushing up while we're on a lift. Just a lot safer and easier to do it that way. So we'll go ahead and leave this hanging for now. And then once we get it on the ground with the wheels, we'll tighten those up, and then everything else we need to tighten up on the ground. So now we can go ahead and add our brake line extension brackets in. So these have a little bit of a taper, and you want that taper to face out away from the frame. So we'll go ahead and use our factory 10 millimeter bolt to mount it to our original mounting point here on the frame. Get that in. Then we'll have that facing down. We'll go ahead and grab our 10 mil socket on our impact and tighten this down. Next, we'll go ahead and grab our supplied 11 millimeter bolt and flat washer. Run that through our brake line. And we'll add another flat washer on the back side, followed by an 11 millimeter lock nut. Then we'll use our 11 millimeter socket on our impact, our 11 millimeter wrench to go ahead and tighten this down. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So once we get the wheels on the ground, we'll be tightening up and torquing our control arms, as well as our lower shock mounts, and also our park and brake brackets with the two 10 millimeter bolts up under the vehicle. Just again, it's a little bit easier to use the weight of the vehicle on the ground to go ahead and get this stuff kind of compressed, as well as you want your suspension parts to be preloaded for anything with bushings to be torqued down, so you don't tear any bushings, have them in the wrong spot. That is the proper way to do that. So now we've got our wheels on and the vehicle's been lowered down to preload our suspension and also line up our bottom shock mounting bolts here in the rear. So we'll go ahead and grab our factory 18 millimeter bolt, pop that on, our factory 18 millimeter nut back in place. And we'll grab our 18 mil socket and our 18 mil wrench. We'll go ahead and tighten this down. Once we have that tight, we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now one thing to note here is with this kit, you will need a vent tube extender, which is available sold separately. It does not come included with the kit. But for proper ventilation of your rear differential, you will need an extender, or you can put a breather on, something like that. But the factory one obviously does not quite reach when the suspension is still a bit sprung, but it is highly recommended to go ahead and get an extender for that. So now we'll go ahead and get our park and brake bracket reinstalled. So slide that over our studs. And then we can reinstall our two 10mm mounting nuts. Once we have those on, go ahead and grab our 10mm socket on our impact, tighten these back down. Okay. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Mammoth 3.5-inch suspension lift kit with shocks for your 07 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.